Alright, welcome YouTubers. I'm back again on Farming Simulator 15. I know 17 just came out. There wasn't a big difference between 13 and 15, and we'll see if there's a big difference between 15 and 17. My guess is no. But this is one of those simulation games for your PC or console that it's kind of neat, and that there's a lot of tools you can play, and there's some learning curves, but after a little while it's a grind. So I call this fast cash in early stages and automation, and I'm using again Farming Simulator 15. You can see some of the background video using some of the stuff I've been doing. I'm playing this on normal level. I know it's a hard and easy, and the only mod I have installed right now is the Courseplay mod, and I'm going to talk about that. That's helpful for automating a lot of your stuff. And I'm playing USA Woodbridge for the map. No custom maps, but you know, one of the strengths of this series of games is that there's a lot of mods, so you can mod it up pretty easily, a lot like the truck simulators and stuff like that. And you can do some other stuff, map mods, hardware mods, you know, that type of stuff. And so another strength of the game is the multiplayer is kind of cool. You know, if you got some friends, I guess, and so one can do one task and one can do another. A little bit different than maybe the trucking simulator game or some of the other stuff like that. So that's some of the good parts of this game and this series, and it's kind of detailed, takes a little bit of time. The bad part is that the economics overall are pretty easy. That being said, you know, it's kind of a little unrealistic in that you know, you can just about do anything in this game and make money. It's very hard to have a negative enterprise or to collapse. It's not really a strategic money game. It's more of a efficiency game and just playing around with equipment and doing other stuff like that. So it's a little unrealistic compared to the real world, but again, it's not made to do that. It's more of a fun game. But once you get going, and the early equipment and combines and trailers and equipment is just very poor, and it's very expensive to upgrade, and it takes quite a bit of time to just grind it out the normal way. So the early part of this series is what to do in the beginning. You know, things you can do that are a little different, because just they give you the basic equipment that you can plow a field and combine it, and you'll make 20,000 a day or something like that. And then it's like, okay, but in order to save up for equipment, it just becomes so prohibitive. You'll see some of the costs on some of these items. So there's a couple cheats you can do, and one of them is that after you save a game, so the number one cheat here is that after you save a game, you can go in on your hard drive, you know, exit the game, go in on your hard drive, find your save file folder, open up the current save.xml, and open it with a notepad, and then look for the line that says money, and you can change that up to 999 million. You can see up in the upper left hand corner most of my videos here, I've got 499 million or something, or whatever I send it to. So now you don't have to worry about money. I know that kind of bums you. It's kind of a cheat, but now you can afford the equipment. You don't have to sit here and grind for hours upon hours to buy a stupid combine or something like that. So that makes it a little funner, and you can get on to the next stage, right, which is just doing efficiency or other stuff like that. Number two, you can actually download some mods that'll change the dollars that you have. So I think you hit something like Control-Shift-0 or something. It makes a hotkey that you can go plus 100,000 at a time, 100, 200, 300, and you can actually decrease it too. But most of the time you'd be increasing it, so you could add $500,000 with just a quick keystroke. You know, not as good as adding 499 million or whatever, but it's there. So those are two cheats, right? So the number 3 way is to sell some of your stuff and buy a placeable, which is a solar panel. That's what you can afford at the beginning. They're like 125K or something like that, and they'll generate electricity for you, or that generates money basically, right? And so you don't have to touch that, you don't have to do anything with it. You can leave your console on high speed or whatever, and you'll make a little bit of money. And the more and more of those you buy, you know, eventually you don't need to do anything, you can make money. Eventually you can buy a windmill and stuff like that, so you can start to rack up millions of dollars, but you got to leave your console on, or you know, do something, or while you're playing. So that's kind of a neat way to make money. Again, the number 4 way to make some money seems to be lumber. Lumber was new in the 2015, and so I'm going to show you the Scorpion King, and that's like a $320,000 piece of equipment. Just very interesting, right? So that's sort of a little bit about how much this stuff costs, how much you have to grind to get up to that. But with this type of equipment, what you would do is sell your equipment that you get at the beginning of a game, and then buy a chainsaw, which is like $1,000, and buy some kind of pusher, like a front loader with a grabber on it or something like that. That might cost you, $800K or something like that, and you're good to go, right? You can go run down to in the Woodridge map. It's the southwest corner. There's a lumber mill. I know in the Swedish map there's like a pond. That's even better. You can just dump trees in the pond. But on the lumber mill down here, there's a little square, and if you cut trees and you drag trees over to it, then you'll get money for them. And you can also plant trees with the placeables. So you go to P and your placeables, same place the solar things were. You can plant a tree, and then you're going to plant it, and then you can run over to a chainsaw, cut it down. If you want to, you can strip the limbs off of it, and you can cut it into sections, and then you can use something to push it over or grab it and bring it over to the drop-off center. And so early on, that netted you a ton of cash. But they went in, recognized that, they modded it, or uploaded a new revision, and took that away from you. But you still make some money. I think it costs $7,000 to plant a tree, and if you just drag that tree over, you'll get like $9,000. So it costs you a couple $1,000. So if you can, depending on how efficiently you can do that, cut it down and drag it over, you can make a couple $1,000 pretty quick. But if you run up and down the tree, you can strip it off with the chainsaw, and then if you want to section it, you can. I'm kind of doing that with the Scorpion King. Is all of a sudden when you drag all those logs over after it's been cut and sectioned, you get like 20K total, or 19K or something like that. So now you invested 7, so you made 12K, but it takes a little longer to run it up and down and do that. So you just have to figure out how fast and how good you're at doing that. It's all manual. There's no automation in that. So long term, that's something to do short term early in the game to make some money. Maybe you get the Scorpion King. That makes it real easy. You saws it off, you drag it over and section it, and then give it a little shove and make that money. But it's a big investment. But the keys that you kind of need to know for those teleporters and the Scorpion Kings and stuff like that are the JNKM, those 4 keys, and then shift in those 4 keys, and then control shift in those 4 keys will get you most of your joints. So it's all kind of manual. You can use the mouse too, but all things being equal. So that was the number 4 way. 5th way to do it is sell your junk and buy this a mower, a tractor with a mower attachment and a collector in the back, and then run around and collect grass. And down again on the U.S. Woodridge map, it's down in the southwest corner by the lumber mill again. There's that biogas, and the biogas has some stalls, and it also has some dump chutes by the tank. And so after it takes a little while to run it around, like 8 minutes or something. You probably want a little more powerful tractor, so it's always up at like 13 miles an hour or whatever it'll run, collecting grass. But you run off for like 8 minutes or something, you can collect a trailer for grass, you come back, you dump it between these things, and when you're in between the walls of this retention area, you'll see a couple more things pop up. One is your percent filled, or your capacity, right? So you unload, as you unload, that number comes up. Eventually, when it gets above 10%, you can move to the next stage, which also has like the percent compacted, right? So you just take a little vehicle. Again, you need like a front loader too, with a bucket on it this time, and you run over it, and it compacts it. So you just move back and forth over it. It'll compact it. Once it gets to 100% compacted, then I think it's 10% full, you can press the R key, and it sort of ferments it, right? And then it puts this covering over it, and then it disappears after a little bit. And now you got the scoopable stuff. You can take the scoopable stuff and you can dump it into the tanks, and you can make a good amount of money doing it that way too. So that was a pretty cheap intro to make some money. A little bit different than the lumber mill. I don't know if it's quite as efficient, but it's kind of boring running over the grass and stuff. You can plant corn and do this too in a field, but now you need field processing equipment. So that was kind of it for the top ways to get early money. So the next thing that kind of brings some joy to the game, brought me back a little bit, was this Courseplay feature. And it's a mod, it's an add-in. You can get it as a zip file, dump it in your mod folder, and engage it. And now you can run around and you can not just hire workers. You can kind of set the courses on field, but more importantly, all those extra trucks that you were driving around by yourself, the loaders, the offloaders, the silo runs, the selling runs. You can now kind of automate those. And what the Courseplay will let you do, you right click and it pulls up, and you're able to set a course and remembers the course. It's pretty good about that. And then you tell it what to do. You can even use this, like I said, to plow fields, and you can plow them 3 wide with 3 combines, and it kind of turns the corner a lot more efficiently, right? Instead of doing the up and 3-point turn like the H does, it'll go over 2 rows and go up that, so the combines can kind of be in sync. So it's kind of neat to do. And you can also do some offloading. Either you can drive the combines, have the combines drive themselves over to a waiting dump truck, then it'll go back to the course where it was and keep on plowing it. So it's kind of automated. The other way to do it is to have the trailers wait around and then run onto the field and run next to the, like you would do manually, but run next to the combines and then collect it and come back, maybe offload it to a trailer. And so you see some of that, what I'm doing here. So it's kind of an interesting kind of sell, because you get a lot more automation and you can do a lot more on the farm without quite as much manual intervention. So it's kind of neat to set those things up if you're into that. Yep, I'm showing you some of the triggers. I'm showing you some of the coming off and stuff like that. So just to add a little bit different to the game and bring you back to the game. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoy the game. We'll see what 2017 brings to us. Thank you. So you can load a previously recorded, it saves it off, and you can rerun your courses, or you can link them together and string them together, and you can do all kinds of automation, not just hiring workers. So in this example, I'm going to kind of show, I generated a field path, and you can kind of see the field path, and I'm going to adjust my offsets so you can run triple combines. In this case, one's going to be, I think these combines are about 12 meters in width, so you're going to run one off to the right 6 meters, and you're going to run one right down the middle of the course, and you're going to run the other one off 6 meters way to the left, or 12 meters, I guess, right? So this is how it's a quick tutorial. You can stretch this as wide as you want. It's going to generate the course for you. Once you set the working width and you set the corner that you want to start and the direction you want to head. So let's do corner start, let's do direction ahead, and then let's go ahead and generate it. You can see that course. And so this combine will run the offset, but it's kind of how you can do some customization. This is saving a course. So after you generate that course, you can save that path and recall it. Simple Simon. As you're running, or before you run, you can set a combine to be off a certain bit. We talked about that a little bit earlier. You can use these remembered paths to jump from one field to another. In this case, I'm finished hiring that worker, and it's going to run off and run to a completely different field, and then hopefully start work over there. Starting is pretty easy. Once you've loaded your course, you put start, and you can start at the the first point or the nearest point. See the combine. I forgot to do the offset on this one, so it's actually going to run down the middle. This one should have been on the left, but you can adjust your offset once it gets running here. So yeah, have a little extra field on this one, but where's that setting? There it is. No, move it over, And yeah, I want to adjust instead of being 6. I kind of miscalculated. I need to be 12 over, right? But it'll just adjust. So just like you'd normally drive a combine up or a trailer up to a combine, this is an example of using Courseplay. In this case, I'm using an offloader. So this is going to fill that red bin, and then it's going to that red bin's going to go back to a waiting semi at the field edge and dump it off there. That's why you need this particular type of trailer. But this is all being done sort of automated. I'm just looking at it. You know, you're not driving the red truck anymore. That's the nice part. Another example of starting a combine, and this one's already got its offset there, so you just press start. We can stop at the end point or go back to the starting point, or a couple features you got to set there. There's a combine running along. Getting offloaded after it made its cut. This one is a pair of combines been unloaded, and this is the dump trailers, and you can see that in the distance the semi going to head off towards that, and you can see because of the timing these are going to stack and upload. Doesn't always work that way, but it will pause and wait, has some smarts to it. So you see the one in front of it is doing its offload. This guy's going to run in. I think he's going to fill up the truck. So those trucks are going to run off to the silo. They're also on Courseplay routes. So just all this stuff you would have done manually before kind of automates the farm. You can manage a little bit quicker, plow some more fields. See the one above is heading off to unload another combine. Let's see if this one fills. I think I'm going to fill it here. So come on, Phil. There we go. And I happen to run. Obviously, it'll run the route and come back. You want to kind of stay off the field, the fields you're plowing. So kind of like having multiplayer, you know. This guy's going to run off again. So this example's the opposite of that. Instead of having the trailers come to the combine in the field, you can actually have. This is one of the crappy combines, so I sent this off normal H mode. And once it gets full or to whatever percentage you set, it goes run the course that it's going to run. I put my little tiny trailer at the beginning here, and of course it's a crappy combine, but this is going to fill up, sort of auto offloading. I'm not running the combiner here, right? The combiner is on Courseplay, and it's going to dump into my tiny little trailer here. And then when you can set the trailer at different tip points. You can see the combine running off, and the trailer is going to, once it gets above a certain level, it's going to run off and do its course. So this is field 16, their starting field, right? With starting tractor and starting combine. So the combine, you see the combine is going to go off in the distance there, and sort of a longer way to do it, but it's all automated. It's Courseplay. And here the finish of this route, I made it a big giant loop circle, so I can start running other trailers to dump. Otherwise they'll collide with one another if you go one direction or the other direction. So simple offload, doing this all automatically. It's going to run back to that starting spot. So here's an example of a Courseplay course versus the H course, and you can see this one when it spins around, it's not going to do a 3-point turn. You miss a little bit of the cut. Well, this one happened to be a double wide, triple wide, but you can see it's not doing the if you set your things right, it's not doing the back and forth like the H's do. And you can cut. So yeah, here's just a nice picture of an offload. And you can see I got the other combines running. It's doing spaces. So yep, good stuff. You can get Courseplay anywhere off the web. Just look for it. Look for Courseplay download. It's a small little zip file. Put it in your save files. Add the mod and play around with it. There's some tutorials on YouTube that will help you a lot better than I can help you here. This is just getting you interested in the game. All right. Thank you.